You know, we live in a world that praises hustle, glorifies burnout, and measures success by how fast we move. But the truth is, real transformation, the kind that roots itself deep and stays with you, doesn't come from chaos. It comes from rhythm, from quiet, steady effort, and that's where this idea of 1 hour a day becomes powerful. Because when you give yourself just 1 hour every day, not once in a while, not when it's convenient, but consistently, you begin to build something strong, something lasting. People often think change has to be dramatic. They wait for big shifts, sudden motivation, some sort of lightning bolt moment to move them. But real change, it whispers. It shows up when you do again and again, even when no one's watching. That's why 1 hour, carved out intentionally, becomes more than just time on a clock. It becomes a declaration: I am worthy of this effort. I am worth showing up for. You see, consistency is love in motion. It's saying to yourself, I believe in you enough to keep coming back. That's more powerful than any grand gesture, because big moments may spark inspiration, but it's the small, daily decisions that keep the fire burning. Think of water. Just a gentle drop over and over can wear through stone, not because it's forceful, but because it doesn't stop. Your 1 hour can be that drop. Each day it chips away at fear, self-doubt, insecurity. It doesn't need to make headlines, it just needs to keep moving forward, and over time you'll look up and see the path you've carved. Now, let me be real with you. Some days that hour will feel easy. You'll flow, ideas will come, your energy will be high, and other days you won't feel like it. You'll be tired, distracted. The world will be loud, and your to-do list will shout at you louder. But that's the moment that matters the most. Because when you show up even then, when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, that's when you're telling yourself, my growth doesn't depend on how I feel. It depends on what I choose. And here's the beautiful part. When you commit to 1 hour a day, it doesn't just change the thing you're working on. It changes you. You start to see yourself differently. You begin to trust your own word. You realize that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be present every single day. So often, we look around and compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. We scroll, we see success stories, highlight reels, and we think, why not me? But behind every moment of greatness you see, there were hours, unseen, uncelebrated, where someone simply showed up, 1 hour at a time, no applause, no spotlight, just grit, patience, and heart. And the best part? That kind of effort is available to all of us. You don't need the perfect background. You don't need ideal circumstances. All you need is a decision, a quiet one, the kind you make in your spirit. The kind that says, I will give myself 1 hour every day, not because I have to, but because I want to grow, because I believe something better is possible. That's where change begins, not with a bang, not with fanfare, but with a choice repeated. So if you've been waiting for a sign for the right time, let this be it. Start small, stay steady, honor that hour, and watch how everything begins to shift. Because 1 hour a day, just one, has the power to change your life. Let's talk about what you do with that 1 hour, because it's not just about marking time or checking off a box. It's about how you fill it, what you allow into that space. You see, intention is everything. Time by itself doesn't transform you, but time, when it's given purpose, when it's treated like sacred ground, that's where the shift happens. That's where the magic begins. We all get the same 24 hours. The question is, how much of that time do we really claim as our own? So much of our day is spoken for, by work, by obligations, by noise that isn't even ours. But this 1 hour, this is yours entirely. a gift you give to yourself, and what a shame it would be to give that gift away thoughtlessly. You've got to be deliberate. You've got to protect that hour like it matters, because it does. Don't let it get swallowed up by distractions. Don't let it be the leftover time you squeeze in after everything else is done. Make it the main event. Set it aside like you would a meeting with someone important, because you are someone important. And once you've carved that hour out, fill it with something that speaks to the life you want to build. Maybe it's reading a book that stretches your mind. Maybe it's writing your thoughts, your ideas, your dreams. Maybe it's movement, walking, dancing, letting your body breathe. Or maybe it's stillness, reflection, prayer. There's no one right way, but it must be your way, aligned with your spirit, your goals, your growth. You can't just wander into change. You have to walk toward it with open eyes. That hour is a chance to reset, to reconnect, to return to yourself. Use it to invest in the version of you that you've been imagining. The one that feels calm, strong, wise, whole. That person isn't far away. That person is already inside you, just waiting to be nurtured, reminded, remembered. Now let me be honest with you. The world won't make it easy. It'll try to pull you in every direction. Your phone will ping. Responsibilities will creep in. You'll think, just this once, I'll skip it. But that's where intention becomes discipline. You can't be casual about your transformation. You've got to treat that hour like sacred soil. What you plant in it, you will harvest later. Some of you may be thinking, I don't even know what to do with my hour. And that's okay. Start with curiosity. Ask yourself what you've been longing for, but putting off. What part of you feels neglected? What dream have you silenced because life got too loud? That's the path. Follow it. It may not look perfect, but it will be true. There's a peace that comes when you honor your time with purpose, when you stop spinning and start grounding. That 1 hour becomes a place of alignment, where what you say you want and what you actually do finally match up. And let me tell you, there is power in that kind of honesty. There is beauty in that kind of courage. So don't waste your hour scrolling through someone else's life. Don't fill it with noise that leaves you feeling empty. Use it to become more of who you already are, deep down, someone capable, someone wise, someone becoming. 1 hour, thoughtfully used, can be a doorway, a practice, a prayer. It is where the noise fades and the truth gets loud. It is where you start to remember what matters and what doesn't, where you stop asking for permission and start trusting your own voice. And if you commit to doing that, not once, not twice, but every day, there is no limit to who you can become. Because when you fill your hour with intention, you're not just passing time, you're claiming your life. 1 hour may not seem like much in the grand sweep of a day, but don't be fooled. That single intentional hour carries a quiet kind of power, one that reaches far beyond the 60 minutes you spend in it. When you give yourself that focused time, something begins to shift, not just in that moment, but in how you carry yourself through the rest of your day. It's like dropping a pebble into still water. You may not expect much from it, but the ripples stretch wider than you ever imagined. We often go through our days in reaction mode. The alarm goes off, and before you've even had a chance to think, you're pulled into 100 directions. The emails, the news, the phone buzzing, the world asking, demanding, pulling. And in all that noise, it's easy to lose your center. But when you begin your day by anchoring yourself with just 1 intentional hour, something changes. You step into your day differently. You move with more clarity, more steadiness, more grace. That 1 hour teaches you to lead your day, not chase after it. It becomes a compass, pointing you back to what really matters. And suddenly, the rest of your hours begin to feel more manageable. Your choices feel more grounded. You're no longer rushing through the day trying to catch up. You're walking through it with purpose. You see, it's not just about what you do in that hour. It's about what that hour teaches you about yourself. It teaches you that you are not at the mercy of chaos, that you can choose calm, that you can choose focus, that you can choose to begin your day from a place of power instead of pressure. That's a quiet kind of strength, and it spills over into everything. Maybe you spend that hour moving your body. You stretch, breathe, walk, let the air fill your lungs. That movement energizes you. It reminds your body what it feels like to be alive, not just awake. And the rest of the day, you feel sharper, lighter, more in tune with your own rhythm. Or maybe you spend that hour reading, journaling, meditating. You let your thoughts unfold without judgment. You sit with yourself, even if just in silence. That stillness gives you space to hear your own voice, not the noise outside. And when the world comes rushing in, because it always will, you'll find you've already built a calm place inside yourself to return to. Even if your hour is used to plan, to dream, to create something new, it reminds you that you are the author of your day. You don't just exist in it, you write it, you shape it, and when you do that first thing in the morning, or any time really, you carry that intention with you like a thread, pulling your day together with clarity and care. It doesn't take a massive amount of time to feel different. Just a little bit of grounded energy changes how you respond to stress, how you speak to others, how you treat yourself. It's the hour that spills into conversations, into decisions, into the way you walk into rooms. That's the ripple, that's the echo of your effort, and the more you practice that, the more your life begins to reflect it. People around you notice, they feel your steadiness, your clarity, your peace. You become someone who brings calm instead of chaos, who listens with presence, who creates with purpose, and it all traces back to that single, sacred hour. So no, that hour isn't separate from the rest of your life. It's the root, the foundation, and everything else grows from it, because 1 hour, held with care, can reach across your entire day and change the way you live it. One of the most common things people say when they hear about setting aside 1 hour a day is this: I just don't have the time, and I understand. Life feels full, overflowing even. There's work, family, responsibilities, bills, chores. So many voices calling for your attention. But I want to tell you something plain and clear. It's not about having time. It's about making time, because what you don't prioritize, you don't protect. And what you don't protect, you lose. We all have the same hours in a day, but not everyone uses them the same way. Some people allow their days to be dictated entirely by the outside world, every minute swallowed up by obligation. But others, even in the midst of busy lives, choose to hold 1 hour just for themselves. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. That 1 hour is where your growth lives. It's not tucked away in some unreachable future or waiting for a better season. It's in the margins of your current life. In the moments when you could scroll, but instead you study. When you could complain, but instead you create. When you could rest in distraction, but instead you choose discipline. Growth doesn't demand your whole day. It just asks for your intention. It wants to know, are you willing to make space for yourself? Are you willing to inconvenience your comfort for your calling? Because the truth is, the person you want to become is waiting for you in those quiet, often overlooked corners of your day. And don't think for a moment that this has to be dramatic. You don't need to flip your life upside down. You don't need perfect conditions. You simply need to begin where you are, with what you have, and commit to showing up anyway. Even if you're tired, even if the world feels heavy, even if no one else understands what you're doing. Because that's how breakthroughs are born: in silence, in sacrifice, in choosing yourself even when the rest of the world tells you to wait. Sometimes people think if something's not huge, it's not worth doing. But the biggest things in life are built in small spaces. The confidence you're looking for, built 1 hour at a time. The skill you want to master, sharpened 1 hour at a time. The peace you've been chasing, found 1 hour at a time. So don't underestimate the value of what you can do with a little bit of margin. That small pocket of time might not look like much, but it carries weight when it's filled with purpose. And you don't have to do it all alone either. You may have support, you may not, but either way, this is your journey. Your hour doesn't have to be loud or showy. It doesn't have to be understood by everyone. Let it be quiet if it needs to be. Let it be slow, but let it be yours. You'll find, over time, that what once felt impossible starts to feel natural. The hour you used to squeeze in becomes the hour you won't give up. It becomes a part of your rhythm, a part of your identity. And that, my friend, is when the shift happens. Not in a moment of inspiration, but in a pattern of return. It doesn't matter where you're starting from, whether you're feeling behind, or stuck, or scattered. It doesn't matter how long it's been since you felt like yourself. What matters is what you do now. And now is always a good time to begin again. You don't have to wait for life to get easier. You just have to decide that your growth is worth the effort. Because when you carve out space in the margins of your life, when you stop saying, "I don't have time," and start saying, "I will make time," you begin to reclaim your power. And that one choice made daily can change everything. There's something deeply sacred about keeping a promise to yourself, not a grand one, not a loud, sweeping declaration, but a quiet one, the kind that says, "I'll show up, just for 1 hour today." That kind of promise may seem small to the world, but it builds something inside you that no one can take away. It builds confidence. Not the kind that comes from applause or approval, but the kind that grows from within. The kind that comes from knowing you are someone who follows through. Confidence is not given, it's not inherited, it is built, one small step at a time, every time you say, "I'll try," and then do it, no matter how messy it grows. Every time you push through resistance and show up for your hour, even when you don't feel like it, you prove to yourself that you are capable. That's where the real strength comes from. Not perfection, but persistence. The world has taught many of us that we need to be impressive to be worthy, that we need to be the best, the fastest, the smartest. But life isn't a competition. It's a becoming. You don't need to outperform anyone. You just need to become more of who you were meant to be. And that happens in small, quiet ways, 1 hour, 1 step, 1 choice at a time. You might not see it at first. You might finish your hour and think, "What difference did that make?" But confidence doesn't shout. It whispers. It's subtle at first. A little more clarity, a little more courage, a little more ease in your voice. But over time, those small victories add up. And one day you look back and realize you've changed. You've grown, not because you were lucky, but because you were faithful. And let me tell you something else. Every time you keep that promise, you rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. Maybe your story said you weren't disciplined. Maybe it said you never finish what you start. Maybe it told you that you're not enough. But with every hour you show up, you write a new line. You start to believe a new truth, that you are committed, that you are becoming, that you are more than the doubt you carry. And yes, some days will be harder than others. You'll be tired, distracted, maybe even discouraged. But the secret is to show up anyway. Because the power isn't just in what you do during that hour, it's in the act of returning to it. The act of saying, "This matters. I matter. That's what builds you up. That's what makes you strong. Not the outcome, but the effort. And you don't need the whole plan figured out. You don't need to know exactly where it's leading. You just need to keep going. That 1 hour is a signal to yourself that you're in this for real, that you're not waiting for permission, that you're not waiting for perfect conditions. You're moving forward, step by step, with grace and with grit. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, to feel overwhelmed by how far you still have to go. But don't let the distance discourage you. Focus on the next hour, just that, and then the next one, and the one after that, because small steps, taken faithfully, carry you further than big leaps you never take. And along the way, you begin to trust yourself more. You begin to walk taller, speak clearer, dream a little bigger, and not because anyone told you to, but because you've earned it through your own effort, through your own commitment, through your own hour-a-day kind of courage. You become someone who believes in themselves, and that belief, that quiet, deep knowing, that's everything, because 1 hour a day doesn't just build habits, it builds confidence. And confidence changes your life. We live in a world that's constantly rushing, a world that rewards busy and praises exhaustion. People move so fast, chasing more achievement, more approval, more noise, that they forget to ask one simple question: am I living in a way that feels true to me? That's the heart of it. That's the question you begin to answer when you give yourself just 1 hour a day. Because in that hour, you're not trying to be everything to everyone. You're not performing. You're not proving. You're simply being, and that's the beginning of alignment. When how you spend your time starts to reflect who you really are, when your daily choices begin to match your deepest values, that's when peace walks in, not the kind of peace that depends on things going right, but the kind that comes from within, the kind that says, I'm living with intention. I'm not just surviving, I'm shaping my life. It's easy to feel lost in the shuffle of responsibilities and expectations. It's easy to lose your voice in a world so loud with opinions. But when you give yourself that hour, day after day, you begin to hear your own voice again. You remember what brings you joy, what lights you up, what gives you purpose. And once you taste that kind of clarity, you start to protect it. You start to say no to the things that pull you away from your path, and yes to the things that bring you home to yourself. That kind of clarity doesn't shout. It whispers. It grows slowly, gently, like light spilling through a crack in the door. But when it comes, it changes everything. It shows you what's real. It reveals what you've outgrown. It teaches you that living aligned doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest. It means choosing what's right for you, even when it's not what's popular, even when it's not what others expect. And don't let the simplicity of 1 hour fool you. That hour teaches you how to listen to your own life. It becomes your compass, and over time, that quiet consistency transforms you. You stop chasing and start becoming. You stop comparing and start creating. You stop waiting for life to feel meaningful and start building meaning into every day. Because alignment isn't something that happens all at once. It's not a destination you arrive at. It's a direction you walk in. Every time you show up for that hour, you're choosing that direction. You're choosing your values over your distractions, your truth over your fear. You're becoming over your busy. Some days that hour might feel ordinary. Maybe you sit in silence. Maybe you write a few messy thoughts. Maybe you just breathe and rest. But don't mistake quiet for weakness. There is strength in slowing down. There is power in reflection. The world may be loud, but your growth doesn't have to be. It can be gentle, it can be slow, it can be steady, and it can still change everything. Living in alignment doesn't mean everything around you gets easier. It means you get clearer, more grounded, more discerning, And when you're clear on who you are, you stop bending to fit into places you've outgrown. You stop explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand. You stop compromising your peace for temporary applause, and it all starts with one simple practice, claiming 1 hour each day to live on purpose, 1 hour to realign, 1 hour to return, 1 hour to be with yourself in a world that's always pulling you away. So if you've been searching for clarity, for direction, for meaning, start there. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect timing. Begin with 1 hour. Begin with your breath. Begin with the decision to honor your own becoming. Because 1 hour a day, lived in truth, will guide you back to yourself. And that is where the real transformation begins.